Welcome back. Our old friend Jerome Corsi is back at it again. He has a couple of articles out today on WorldNet Daily on WND. And as you remember, Dr. Corsi has a PhD in history from Harvard University. And I every time I read something that Dr. Corsi's put out there, and by the way, he's got a great website. If you want to go to his website and get on his email list, he's a great guy. But Dr. Corsi is one of the people that I'm sure Harvard wishes they hadn't granted a PhD to, because he is always enforcing a level of rigor and honesty that people don't like. And his latest article has to do with the state of Georgia, and I want to read this directly from the news. Georgia warns Obama of peril of ignoring eligibility hearing. Now, at the heart of this is the question, and it's a legal question over what a natural-born citizen is. And this is not about the birth certificate per se. This is not about whether Mr. Obama was born in Hawaii or has a legal birth certificate. This is a separate issue about being a natural-born citizen, which, according to Dr. Corsi, has a specific meaning under the Constitution of the United States, and that meaning is that your mother and father must be natural citizens of the United States. Mr. Obama, by his own admission in both of his books, The Audacity of Hope and whatever the second one was, says that his father was not a U.S. citizen, never a U.S. citizen. He was a citizen of Kenya. And that's what the Georgia case is about. They're saying the president is not eligible to run for re-election. In fact, isn't eligible to be president right now. The hearing, which is going on before an administrative law judge as we speak, was boycotted by the president and his attorney. They said, basically, that they were going to take their toys and go home. They weren't going to appear there. And after being subpoenaed to appear, the president said, I'm going to ignore this subpoena, even though he is the head law enforcement officer and the chief executive officer of the United States. And even though he is, by training, a lawyer, he told the bench, told the court that he would not obey a lawful order of the court to appear. He said this would interrupt in my duties as president, which I guess those duties are his re-election swing through Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico that he's on at a cost of $18,000 an hour in Air Force One, but that's a separate story. What's fun about this is he said through his attorney he won't appear. Now, all of us have to put up with courts, even when we don't want to. If you fail to appear before a court, what does the other side get? They get a default judgment because you failed to appear. Mr. Obama, President Obama, is acting, to quote Mr. Corsi, like a 5-year-old brat who's taken his toys and gone home. This is a wonderful moment in terms of someone who has preached relentlessly about how we have to be a government of laws and not of people, and no one's above the law. And you know, the rant the other night at the State of the Union address about the 1%ers, the millionaires and billionaires, of whom he is one, who think they're above the law and don't think they have to play by the rules. Well, this is just too juicy. This is just too hypocritical on the part of the president not to enjoy for a minute. And I have no idea if Georgia's going to put him off the ballot or leave him on the ballot or, disqualify him and say he's not a natural-born citizen. I have no idea about that. But I do think that when a court orders you, whether you're president of the United States or whether you're a lowly college professor at a small public college in Arizona, when the court tells me to be in court, I'm there. And I think that this is one of those telling moments where the president's narcissism and his own self-involvement may well finally be in the classic Greek drama sense. All of the Greek tragic heroes had that hamartio character flaw, that single flaw that did them in. Oedipus is rash, he murders his father, he marries his mother. When told about this horrible mistake, he blinds himself, symbolic castration. The Greek tragedies have this great character of, the single fault that does them in. Mr. Obama refusing to be there today may set in motion a chain of events that he may come to regret with all his heart and soul. If he loses the equivalent of a default judgment, you didn't appear in court, you don't have a right to make comment on this at this time or any time in the future now, you defaulted. if that's the ruling of the administrative court involved here, it will be very interesting to see how many other states go through the same proceeding, and if and when the president will appear in courts who subpoena him to appear. Just a thought, we are a government of laws, not of people. And as he so poignantly pointed out in his speech the other night, and it's just too juicy not to mention again, the rules that apply to the millionaires and billionaires don't apply just to them. It applies to everybody. So as one of the nation's millionaires who's used to flying around in Air Force One, his private corporate jet, no matter what the cost, the Hawaii vacation was $50 million, not that we're counting. It might be interesting to see him hung by his own petard on this. And it is just one of those juicy moments of hypocrisy that you can't help but enjoy. God bless you. God bless the United States.